Wait. Hold on. Rewind. Pause. Did you see that headline? Surprise pregnancy shocker, Amy Roloff stunning news to Chris Marek. I know. You clicked on this video because you are freaking out right now. Is it true? Is the little people, big world matriarch actually having a baby at her age? Is she finally giving Chris the child he always wanted? Is the farm about to have a new little heir running around? Take a deep breath, everybody. Calm down. Grab your pumpkin spice latte or whatever you're drinking, because we are about to dive deep into this rumor that has absolutely exploded all over social media. Seriously, my notifications are on fire. Everyone is asking me the same question: is Amy Roloff pregnant? And let me tell you, after digging through the sources, watching the clips, and reading between the lines of what's really going on in Roloff land, the answer is not as simple as a yes or a no. In fact, what we're about to discuss might actually be even more dramatic than a pregnancy announcement. Because if you think Amy and Chris are just settling into a quiet, boring retirement life, you have not been paying attention. We're going to break down the rumors, look at the timeline, check out what Chris and Amy are actually saying, and of course, talk about the massive elephant in the room, or should I say, the X in the room, Matt Roloff. Because let's be honest, nothing in this family is ever just simple. But before we get into all the crazy details, if you love keeping up with the Roloffs, if you want the real tea that goes beyond the TLC cameras, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video if you're a true LPBW fan. It helps the channel grow, and we can keep bringing you these updates. Seriously, click the button. You don't want to miss what happens next. Trust me. Alright, let's set the record straight. The rumor mill started churning over time recently. Someone posted a TikTok, you know how it goes, with a grainy picture of Amy looking a little, shall we say, flushed? And suddenly, the internet exploded with speculation that Amy and Chris were expecting a bundle of joy. The headline you saw, surprise pregnancy shocker, started trending in some fan groups, and people lost their minds. Now, let's look at the facts. Amy Roloff is 61 years old. Is it medically possible to have a baby at 61? Sure, with modern science, anything is possible. But is it likely for Amy, who has been very open about her health struggles and her journey with dwarfism? Not really. And if you look at her recent social media, what is she actually doing? She's not setting up a nursery. She's posting about her amazing adventures with Chris. Just recently, she celebrated their wedding anniversary, and what did she post? A stunning picture of the two of them at a fancy dinner. She's always going on hikes, traveling, and living her best life. She even took Chris on a hot air balloon ride for his birthday. A hot air balloon. That doesn't scream morning sickness to me. That screams second honeymoon. So, if it's not a baby, what is the shocking news? Why does it feel like something big is bubbling under the surface? Here's what I think is really going on. And pay close attention, because this is where it gets juicy. The dynamic in the Roloff family has shifted. Massive tectonic plates are moving. For years, the tension was between Amy and Matt. We watched their divorce, we watched the awkwardness, we watched them try to co-parent and co-own that farm. It was exhausting. But recently, something changed. Matt and Karen Chandler split up. Yes, you heard that right. After 8 years together, Matt and Karen called it quits. And what happened immediately after Matt became single again? He started showing up everywhere with Amy and Chris. There were photos of Matt, Amy, and Chris all together at the grandkids' events. They were posing for pictures, looking like one big, happy, but incredibly weird, polyamorous family. Fans started buzzing. Is Amy going back to Matt? Is Chris okay with this? Is this why Karen left? It was chaos. And that, my friends, is the real story here. The shocking news isn't a pregnancy. It's the reconciliation. It's the weird, tense, fascinating love triangle that is playing out in real time. Chris Marek has always been the steady, quiet guy. He's the rock. He's the one who stood by Amy while she dealt with Matt. But how is Chris handling the sudden return of Matt the ex into their daily lives? Is he really as cool with it as he seems? We have to remember, Chris and Matt actually got along. They bonded over tools and farm work. There were rumors that this bothered Amy, that she felt Chris was picking Matt over her. Can you imagine the jealousy? You marry a guy to get away from your ex, and suddenly your husband and your ex are best friends fixing tractors together? But now that Matt is single, the stakes are higher. Amy has been very vocal in the past about how she felt blindsided by Matt's relationship with Karen. She said it was hurtful that her friend and employee ended up with her husband. So, is there a part of Amy that feels a little satisfied? That Matt is now the single one, while she is happily married? But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The real question isn't about Amy's feelings. It's about Chris. Chris Marek gave up his quiet life to be on a reality TV show. He married into a family that is famously dysfunctional. And now, he has to share his wife's time and attention with her ex-husband, who is also suddenly single and hanging around the farm again. Is there tension at home? You better believe there is. You can see it in the background of some of the videos they post. A look, a sigh, a slight shift in body language. The cameras might be off, but the drama is definitely on. And let's not forget, Amy and Chris just celebrated 4 years of marriage. They look happy. They post the captions about loving each other yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's beautiful. But even in those posts, you have fans commenting, "Wait, I thought you were divorced," because the rumors are so rampant. They are constantly having to fight against the noise. So, what is the stunning news that Amy has for Chris? Maybe it's not a baby. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's that she wants to move back to the farm. The farm that Matt is now living on alone. The farm that holds 30 years of memories with another man. How would Chris feel about that? He bought a beautiful house with Amy in Washington State. They built a life there. Is she willing to give that up to go back to the drama? Or maybe the news is about the show itself. With ratings dipping and Zach and Tori leaving, maybe TLC is threatening to pull the plug. Maybe Amy has to decide if she wants to film more personal stuff to keep the paycheck coming. And how much is Chris willing to share? He's a private guy. We've seen him get annoyed with the cameras before. You see, the surprise isn't a baby. The surprise is the pressure. The pressure building up in this relationship. Amy is a strong, independent woman. She always has been. But Chris has his own needs, his own boundaries. I have a theory. And this is just my theory, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think Amy is about to drop a bombshell. I think she is going to announce that she's writing a tell-all book. Or maybe she's launching a new business that directly competes with Matt's farm. Something that forces Chris to pick a side once and for all. Because right now, Chris is stuck in the middle. He's Amy's husband, but he's Matt's friend. That balancing act can't last forever. Eventually, the rope is going to snap. And who is going to get hurt when it does? We've seen Chris get criticized by fans before for gossiping about Amy with Matt. We've seen the tension. So imagine what happens if Matt, in his newly single state, starts leaning on Amy for emotional support. How long before Chris feels like a third wheel in his own marriage? The Roloff saga is never boring. And just when you think things have calmed down, the storm clouds gather again. So, no. Amy isn't pregnant. But she is sitting on a powder keg of drama, and the fuse is getting shorter. I want to know what you think. Seriously, I'm not just saying that. Scroll down to the comments right now and tell me, do you think Chris is secretly bothered by Matt hanging around so much? Or is he genuinely cool with it? And what do you think this shocking news really is? Let's get a conversation going. I'll be in the comments replying to some of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are going to be watching this situation like a hawk. The moment anything drops, a new Instagram post, a trailer for the new season, a leaked photo, we will be back with a follow-up. Because this story is far from over. In fact, it feels like it's just getting started. Matt is single. Amy is married. Chris is caught in the middle. And the farm is still there, looming over all of them like a character in a horror movie. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone, to a special documentary-style deep dive. I'm your host, and today, we're pulling back the curtain on the most personal, joyful, yet complex chapter in the lives of the Roloff family. The headline, as you may have heard, is pure celebration. Amy Roloff and her husband Chris Marek are beaming with happiness, overjoyed by the arrival of newborn twin grandchildren. But to view this solely as a blissful baby announcement is to miss the profound, unfolding human drama beneath the surface. This is a story about legacy, about family ties stretched and strengthened, and about finding happiness in unexpected places later in life. For Amy Roloff, life after her divorce from Matt was a journey of self-discovery. She found love again with Chris Marek, a man who presented a calmer, more steady partnership. Their marriage symbolized a fresh start, a chance to build a life centered on their own terms, away from the constant business pressures and emotional complexities of the farm. And Chris Marek? By all accounts, he is very happy. His social media shows a man deeply in love with his wife, supportive of her endeavors, and seemingly content in their shared life. He is Amy's rock. But within any family, especially one as publicly documented as the Roloffs, joy is rarely a simple, isolated event. It exists within a web of history. The birth of these twins, a double blessing, reverberates through every branch of the Roloff tree. For Zach and Tori, the parents, it's the exhausting, wonderful reality of expanding their beautiful, chaotic family. For Jeremy and Audrey, it's a poignant moment, a reminder of their own children and the different path they've chosen, one increasingly distant from the farm and the show. For Matt and Karen, it's a new generation to cherish, a testament to the family Matt built, even as he builds a new life of his own. And for Molly, it's a joyful event witnessed from the peaceful distance she has intentionally created. But our focus today is on Amy. To understand her emotion at this moment, we must rewind. Amy's identity has been intrinsically linked to motherhood. Her struggles, her advocacy for little people, her fierce protection of her children, these defined her for decades. The original Little People, Big World showed us Amy as the heart of the household, often balancing the demands of a unique family with Matt's grand, and sometimes overwhelming, visions. Her journey post-divorce was a public metamorphosis. We watched her move off the farm, write a book, start a bakery business, and walk down the aisle again with Chris. This was Amy Roloff 2.0, confident, independent, and claiming her happiness. Yet, a thread of melancholy often ran alongside that triumph. The sale of the family farm's iconic big house was a particularly emotional blow. It was a physical severing from the home where she raised her children, the epicenter of so many memories, both sweet and bitter. The twins' birth now pulls her back into the core emotional orbit of the Roloff saga, grandmotherhood. But this role is different. She is no longer the matriarch presiding over the daily chaos of the farmhouse. She is a visiting grandma, a beloved figure who arrives with love and gifts, but who leaves to go home to Chris, to her own peaceful space. This duality is the crux of her current chapter. There is immense, unadulterated joy in holding those newborns. And there might also be a quiet, unspoken sense of being slightly on the outside looking in at the continuous, messy, beautiful story of the family she once anchored. Now, let's talk about the dynamics at play. The relationship between Amy and Matt Roloff is one of the most documented post-marital relationships in reality TV history. They have found a fragile, functional peace, largely for the sake of their children and grandchildren. Major family events, like births and holidays, are now careful ballets of coordination and courtesy. Chris Marek and Karen Chandler are the new partners, the supportive figures in the background, navigating their own places within this established family structure. Chris's role is particularly interesting. He is the antithesis of Matt in many ways, less confrontational, less consumed by monumental projects. His happiness seems rooted in his partnership with Amy and their shared, quieter life. But does he ever feel like an outsider in the dense Roloff history? How does he support Amy when the complexities of her past family life inevitably surface during moments like this? His steady presence is Amy's sanctuary, a reminder that she has built something new and stable. And what of the twins themselves? Their arrival comes at a time of transition for Little People, Big World. The show must evolve as the children are now adults building their own families. The narrative is no longer about raising little people in a big world, it's about those little people, now grown, navigating marriage, parenthood, business, and their relationships with their famous parents. The twins are a new generation of content, but also a new generation carrying a unique legacy. The public will watch with fascination to see if they inherit the form of dwarfism common in the Roloff line, a deeply personal detail that the family will have to decide how and when to share. This brings us to the unsaid tensions, the documentary-style questions we must pose. With every family gathering filmed, is the authenticity of the joy compromised? Are moments of potential conflict softened for the cameras? The birth of the twins is a pure event, but its incorporation into the LPBW narrative is a production. Amy, a veteran of this world, is acutely aware of this. Her happiness is real, but her expression of it exists within the framework of a show that has been both her livelihood and a source of immense stress. Furthermore, the business of being a Roloff continues. Social media announcements, coordinated photo releases, potential storylines for the next season, this personal miracle is also professional content. Amy's Bakery, Matt's Farm Ventures, Jeremy and Audrey's Publishing, Zach and Tori's podcasting, the family brand is multifaceted. The twins, unknowingly, have just become a part of that brand. How will Amy, who has fought for her own independent identity, help protect her grandchildren's privacy while existing in a public sphere? Let's delve deeper into Amy's psychology. Holding those twins, she is not just holding her grandchildren. She is holding a symbol of continuity. The Roloff name, her legacy, carries forward. But it carries forward through her sons and their wives, through the choices they make. Her control, once so absolute over her children's lives, is now replaced with influence and love. This is the universal journey of a parent, but for Amy, it's played out in magazines and on television screens. The pride is monumental. The letting go, perhaps, is an ongoing, private process. Chris Marek's happiness, then, is a crucial counterbalance. His world is not defined by the Roloff orbit. His joy is in Amy's joy, in their travels, in their quiet evenings. He represents the life she chose after the saga. So when she comes home from a long day filming with the babies, surrounded by the echoes of her past, Chris is there as her anchor to a simpler present. This partnership is the foundation that allows her to engage with the complexities of her family without being consumed by them. But what does the future hold? The twins will grow. They will have birthdays, holidays, and milestones. Each event will be a potential gathering, a potential filming opportunity, a potential for renewed dynamics or old tensions to simmer. Amy's role will evolve from the grandma of newborns to the grandma of toddlers with personalities. Her relationship with Zach and Tori will deepen as they navigate parenthood, and she may offer advice, born of her own unique experiences raising children with dwarfism in the public eye. The farm, that perennial source of tension, still looms. While the big house is sold, parts of Roloff Farms remain under Matt's control and are the setting for pumpkin season and family events. Will the twins learn to walk on that same land their father and uncle did? Will Amy watch them play there with a heart full of nostalgia, or with a sense of relief that her daily battles there are over? The land is a character in this story, and the twins are now part of its next chapter. And what of Amy's own dreams? Now a grandmother multiple times over, does she feel her family duty is complete in a cosmic sense? Does this free her and Chris to pursue even more of their own adventures, untethered? Or does it bind her even closer, the pull of grandchildren being a magnetic force stronger than almost any other? These are the questions she likely ponders. For the audience, for us watching, the birth is a happy update. But for Amy, it's a layered emotional event. It is the pure love of new life. It is a reflection on her own motherhood. It is a navigation of her modern family map. It is a professional consideration. It is a personal milestone shared with a man who loves her. To reduce it to just Amy is a happy grandma is to miss the entire point of her decades-long journey. This moment is a pivot. The narrative of LPBW is officially, irrevocably, in the hands of the next generation. Amy and Matt are the elders now. Their story is one of reflection, of legacy, of enjoying the fruits of their labor amidst the complicated orchard they planted together. Chris Marek's steady happiness is Amy's reward for enduring that complicated planting season. He is her after, and it is a good one.